I think it's okay. Yeah. Okay. Quick check. 42. Awesome. Okay. Hello, everyone. And today we will talk about how to make Ethereum validation more accessible with Lido community staking module. And yes, it's me, Dmitry, and I'm making Lido more permissionless with contributing to Lido community staking module. But first, let's start about how to actually validate ETH. Raise your hand if you do know how to run your validator. A little too much hands, so I think the rest of the information will be really helpful for you, for the rest of us. And Ethereum is a really evolving technology, and it is one of the few projects that made a transition from proof of stake, or proof of work, sorry, to proof of stake. And that's why today we speak actually about the validation and not about the mining. And because of that, after the merge that happened in September 2022, if I remember correctly, there are now two blockchains on Ethereum, actually. So the first one is the execution layer. That's where all the transaction lies. So that's where smart contracts deployed. So when you interact with some to make a swap or make an Ether transfer or like mint your NFT, you actually interact with the execution layer. And there are additional ones. It is a consensus layer. And that's actually where validators operate. They reach consensus on the state of the network, and they propose blocks to be actually included into the execution layer. But validator itself is not a self-sufficient part of software. It actually requires a connection to Ethereum node, and Ethereum node itself communicate with the rest of the network. And typical setup looks like this. Because, as you now know, Ethereum consists of two blockchains, and validators has to be connected to the consensus layer client. Consensus layer client itself requires connection to an execution layer clients. And these two clients interact with their corresponding networks. So execution layer networks and the consensus layer networks respectively. And validator client itself can have additional connection to additional parts of software, for example, to block builders such as MEV Boost client, which is primarily responsible, main intent of this part of software is to make more ETH from a block proposal, so you get more rewards, but about the rewards a little bit later. In fact, I will say that a validator is really confusing term in Ethereum, because from the Ethereum glossary, validator is just a virtual entity on the consensus layer network, and it is just described by its public key and its balance. So it does not validate anything, in fact. And here is the actual split of the responsibilities between consensus layer nodes and the validator. So consensus layer node actually responsible for validating blocks and interacting with the network. It actually selects the current fork. It share the information with the rest of the network, the rest of the peers, and so on and so forth. And the validator is just propose blocks. It actually shares its vision about the network state, and it reports slashings. And the thing is that consensus layer and the validators is validator clients, I will say, is just a piece of software. So you can actually just run it, right? And by running a consensus layer node, you will be able to get your own copy, independent copy of the consensus layer state. And you will be able to contribute to the overall Ethereum resiliency and data availability just by running your consensus layer node software. You will listen for the messages from the network, and you will propagate it next to other peers and so on. So it is already something to do with Ethereum, right? But to actually propose a new block to be actually included to the execution layer, you have to run your validator. And the thing is that for running a consensus layer, all you need is just hardware and software, and that's it. But to create a validator to actually propose new blocks, you need at least 32 Ether per single validator. And this brings to us the first Ethereum validation issue. it is expensive. It is expensive by design, right? But validator gets rewards because even it provides a lot of if as a stake, it gets something from it. And these rewards come from its duties. So there are three main types of duties of a validator. It is block proposal, attestation, and sync committee participation. Let's break down it a little bit. So consensus blockchain timeline is split into the regular intervals called slots. And validators, all the validators on the Ethereum network are being like randomly selected to be a proposer for a given slot. And a validator responsibility is to construct a valid block to be included in the predefined slot, and it has to do it just in time to be actually included into the network. Another responsibility, another duty of a validator is to share its vision about the chain state. So it is pretty often responsibility, and it contributes to the overall like propagating of the correct view of the chain at the very moment. And the last responsibility is sync committee participation. So sync committee is a pretty interesting concept. So because on the Ethereum network there are a lot of validators, and it's not possible to it's not easy, I will say, to collect all of them, get all the public keys and verify the data. So instead the network splits the whole validator set into the sync committees. It is just really small compared to the whole set, like subset of validators that is responsible for assigning beacon block routes. And light clients available to easily download the list of these validators which participate in this sync committee and to verify every beacon block route without the need of having access to the full blockchain state. And if you take a look into the long-term breakdown on rewards of a validator on Ethereum, you will get that about 70% of the rewards comes from consensus layer rewards. So it's reward for the duties I've described it just before. So it's just block proposals, attestations, and sync committee participations. And these rewards are pretty stable. So if your validator does perform well, you will get most of these rewards, and it will be 70% of your rewards in the long term. But another part is the execution layer rewards. So it is the rewards that come from block proposal, but in terms of fees for including transaction and so on. But your validator has about like just a few times a year an opportunity to actually propose a block. It highly depends, but in general, on average, it's just a few times. And in these few times, there is no guarantee that you will get a lot of rewards from block proposal because it highly depends on the state of the network at the moment of your proposal. So it can be another bull run and a lot of transaction, high gas fees, and you will get, I know, 1 ETH from the fees, or otherwise it can be almost nothing just because network pretty stagnant and you have one-way gas and so on. So just because in the long term, it takes about 30% of your rewards, and these rewards are really, really volatile, and it mostly not depend on you, your overall rewards also volatile, and it is the second Ethereum validation issue for today. Okay, validator gets rewards, but it also gets penalties. Validator has to provide some ETH as its stake, so 32 ETH. But if validator doesn't perform well and it misses its duties, it not only don't get any rewards, it also being penalized. So validator balance are actually decreasing over time if a validator perform bad. And there are like 3 main types of penalties. The most severe one is slashing indeed, that's because it means that your validator made a real violated rules of the network, and it eventually will be kicked off the network and it won't participate in consensus anymore. So it just like terminal point some kind, and it will receive you will get like a massive penalty. It's currently like immediately one if penalty, and after that, after some time, it will eventually lose some part of the balance. And it, in fact, can lose all of this 32 if, but in practice, it's not the case, but in general, you can lose whatever balance your validator has. And there are two another types of penalties. It is for missed attestations and missed sync committee participations. They're pretty low compared to slashing, indeed, but at the same time, they can be not depend on your validator performance directly. So, for example, if your validator, I mean, your setup in general has problems with the network connection for some time, and it has no ability to propagate the attestation, or you just have a small power outage and your validator goes offline because of that, or basically this also can be the case that the network itself has had no ability to include your attestation into the network because of a lot of missed slots, you will get penalties as well. So this is another issue of Ethereum validation, that you have penalties even for small outages. Okay, and the final problem for today, it is that in Ethereum networks there is no such thing as a native stake delegation. So you need 32 ETH to create a validator, but you have no built-in mechanism to actually get this ETH from another ETH holders to create a validator on the network. You have to make some kind of external agreement, off-chain or on-chain, and actually Lido protocol is one of these third parties that actually allows you to make such kind of agreement and make it on-chain. So there are ETH holders who want to their ETH to be staked, and we're not operators, and staking protocol just connect these two parties and make it secure, right? So this is, as I said, the last issue for today about the Ethereum validation is a lack of the Ethereum, or a lack of the native delegation on the Ethereum network. And the question is how to make it really better, simpler, and so on. And we have an answer to it. It is a Lido community staking module. It is a Lido Ethereum's protocol first module with a permissionless entry, allowing another operator to join Lido validator set just by providing a relatively small bond. So to create a validator, instead of 32 ETH, you have to provide just a small amount as a bond, so around 2 ETH, and the rest of this ETH will be provided to your validator by the protocol itself, so from the another ETH holders, right? So this actually solves two ETH validation issue at once. So first, it gets out of the picture expensive nature of the Ethereum validation, and the second, it allows to get Ether from delegators, right? Another thing, as I said, validator rewards are actually really volatile because of the nature of execution layer rewards. And by default, Ethereum protocol distribute rewards independent for every validator in the set, and it depends on its performance and on its luck, basically. That's the whole point. But Lido protocol, as the staking protocol, acts a little different. It collects all the rewards that distributed by Ethereum protocol in one place and then distribute pretty evenly between validators. So it basically means that your validators get a smoother reward, so average rewards. So in this case, by participating in the Lido validator set, you actually participate in one of the largest smoothing pools on the Ethereum network. And this effectively solves another problem, so there are no more volatile rewards, they're pretty smooth rewards because of the protocol. And here is the question. So for example, if I run multiple validators on the with really good performance, but imagine that there are multiple validators that just went offline after its creation. Why the protocol should share the part of the rewards with these validators as well? It shouldn't be the case, right? And that's why in CSM there is a notion of the performance threshold. And if your validator runs like pretty with a decent performance, it is able to get the socialized, like smooth rewards. But otherwise, if your validator's performance drops below this threshold, it doesn't receive rewards for the delegated part of the stake, so it means that these validators get out of the picture as well. So like distribution is being more fair in this case. And by this, we solve the issue with the small outages. Now you have a lever for them. So let's go through this one more time. By joining CSM, you have to provide just 2 ETH to create a validator in the network. You will get the rest of the Ethereum from the delegators, so from another ETH holders. You will get the smooth rewards because of the participating in the Lido validator set. And finally, you have a levy for small outages. And with all of this, I'm really happy to say that Lido community staking module is really your best friend in Ethereum validation. And I really encourage to give it a shot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe we have room for 1 or 2 questions. Yes, I see over here or here. Can I have a mic, please? Thank you very much. So let's start over here. Here we go.
Hi, Dmitry. I'm curious, how does APR compare between just holding STETH against running a validator with a community staking model?
APR is higher. This is a short answer, right?
That's what I would expect.
Yeah, it highly depends. So I will say that currently the APR of just holding STETH is roughly 2.7, 2.9%, right? It depends on the network conditions, but you will get your staking APR on your bond. Just you have 2 ETH bond provided, and you will get rewards on it. But also you will get rewards from the Ethereum validation, so it's just staked, how to say it. On top of that, you will get additional rewards. So on top of just holding 2 ETH as a bond, you will get these rewards anyway. You will get extra from the validation itself. So your APR will be higher. And I wouldn't say about the correct numbers, exact numbers, but I think it is about 1.5, 1.7x multiplier on your provided capital. So in some cases, maybe 2x, it depends on the bond amount, but in general, it is much higher.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I saw we had another question over here. Go.
Yeah, hello. Pleased to meet you. My name is Carlo. Actually, that was my question as well, but I have another one for you. So if you can go through the reward structure, and is it like the 2 ETH bond, is it fixed? So it's either 2 ETH or 32, or can we adjust the contribution according to our needs? As well as, is this live or is it just on paper?
Okay. Just live or on paper? It is live on testnet, and it will be live on mainnet, I think, before Q4, so in a few months, yes. And about the bond amount itself. So community staking model has a notion of the bond curve. It means that for every single validator you create, your bond requirements can be changed. So it can be higher, it can be lower. But in general, every subsequent validator will cost in terms of bond a little bit lower. And for early adopters, it actually, the model offers the lowered amount of bond. So I don't know the correct amounts, but it probably will be like 1.5, 1.7 ETH for the first validator for early adopters. Yeah, I think that's it.
So if I want to contribute 20 ETH,
okay,
can I do that?
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
So you can do whatever amount of validator you want to create. So it just if you want to 10 validators, it will just show you, for example, 20 ETH, right? So you have to provide the 20 ETH. There is still, you can provide any amount you want, just because you need to provide at least the minimum required amount of one per validator, right? But in general, it's pretty scalable, so you can provide whatever you want actually, 1,000 and whatever.
Awesome, thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Do we have any other question? No, perfect. Then thank you very much, Dmitry.
Thank you.
Let's make another applause for him, please. Thank you.